Okay. Well, a bunch of different things happened this week, which I'm excited to show you the pictures for. I'm going to share my screen with you right now. Hope you guys all had a nice weekend with your moms for Mother's Day. Okay, so we're going to start off with this picture Skylar sent in. I'm really happy when you guys, share pictures about stuff that you see going around your house, or even, when you drew the floor plan of your house. So I thought it was pretty cool that Skylar shared this with me through my mom. And what this is actually, this looks like some plumbing pipes. So there's a plumbing water running through these pipes, and I can't see the whole area, but because it looks like it's under the ground, it looks like this water might be running to the house, and this smaller pipe might be running water to the irrigation system, so the sprinklers that water your plants and grass. So that was pretty cool. Maybe during the questions later, Skylar can tell me a little bit more about the picture.
So I wanted everyone to know that Skylar was out there and she found this, and her mom took a picture and she sent it to me. So that's why Lori's saying it's really nice. If you find things like that, I could send it to Lori, and she can give us her expert opinion. All right, Lori, we're ready.
I thought that was pretty cool. So now I'm going to show you some stuff that happened inside the house this week. So the electricians came back now that, all the walls have been painted and textured, and a bunch of other stuff has been happening. And last time we saw there was basically these holes in the wall with little wires sticking out. And so electricians came back and they started to put the switches and outlets in. So you can see they kind of, they screw this to the wall, and this is what it looks like. These are the switches. This is the thermostat for the temp air conditioning unit. And you can see this is what the house looked like maybe about a couple weeks ago before it was painted. See, there's just holes in the wall where the recessed cans will be in the fans. There's some wires sticking out here. And this is what it looks like now. So you can see all those holes now. They're covered with light bulbs for the lighting, and you've got a fan here. These are speakers for music or to listen to movies. You see here is the other view of the house. So the house, you can see, is getting very close to being finished on the inside. Before, these were just holes with wires, and they put the light fixtures in. These light fixtures, they come already together in boxes that we buy from the store, but the electricians make sure all the wires are hooked together properly, so that way the lights work well. This is in the foyer. They put a little chandelier. The appliances came in the kitchen. That's the dishwasher, the microwave. You see here they put the outlets in. This is what it looked like before. There were holes in the wall, and now they're nice and covered with the plastic outlets. And the county actually requires that there be a certain number of outlets in the kitchen behind the cabinets, so that way you can plug in, your blender or mixers or whatever other electric things you might want for cooking. So that they actually require. You see here, after they put the switches in, they put a plate to cover it, so it looks nice and finished. The painters will have to come in and touch this up a little bit. You can see here some more outlets. Here you can see the microwave is plugged into an outlet too, so that way that can work. In the bedrooms, we've got ceiling fans, and these are some energy efficient light bulbs. This is a little outlet for your internet cable or your TV cable. You've got smoke detectors. So they came in, and before they were all just wires sticking out of the walls, and they went ahead and put in all the finishing pieces. This is a large fluorescent light for a closet. Here in the bathroom, you can see they came in. Now, there's a separate, another worker he is called a specialties guy, and he installs the mirrors. So he came and he measured the area for the mirror. Back in his shop, he cut the glass for the mirror, and he came and he glued it with a special type of glue to the wall. The electricians put the light fixtures in for the bathroom. See, here's another bathroom vanity with the mirror and the lights. Here are the outlets near the sink for the bathroom. Now you see this one looks a little bit different than the other outlets. That's because it's near a sink. When the outlet is near a sink, they need a special breaker here, so that way if water gets near the electric outlet, it automatically turns off. So this is a special outlet for safety reasons when you're near wet surfaces like sinks, to make sure that if it gets wet, it will automatically turn off. So you don't have to worry about getting hurt or damaging anything. This is the laundry room. So they have a special high voltage outlet for your washing machine and dryer, because those require a lot of energy. And this here is the water heater control. So this tells you how hot to make the water when it comes through the water heater. And this is in the garage. This is a special shut-off for the water. So let's say you were to have a leak or a leak or something, and you wanted to turn off all the water in your house really fast. You can come here to the garage and open up this little shelf here and turn all the water off in your house if you needed to. You don't have to go outside to do it. And this here is the electric panel. This is in the garage too, and this door eventually will cover it, so it'll be closed. But this has all the different electric breakers, and the electricians hook everything together so that way all the lights, when you turn a switch in one bedroom, it knows which light to turn on and off. And you can see they have all the wires nice and organized. So that's inside the house. Another thing that happened inside the house is the garage door was installed. So before there was just a big opening where the garage door was supposed to be. The garage door is installed in panels, so horizontal panels. You can see this is one of the panels here. This is what it looks like up close. And it's a metal garage door. See here's the motor on the ground before it's installed on the ceiling. Here there's two guys who were installing it, and you can see all of these metal brackets. These are actually to protect against hurricanes. So these are special brackets that all new garage doors require, so that way if a hurricane comes and there's a lot of wind, that the garage door keeps it nice and strong so it doesn't blow. So if you guys go home and you guys have garages, if you live in an older house, you might notice that these don't exist, whereas if you have a newer garage door, you'll notice that they have these metal brackets to protect. And this is the railing for the garage door. When it opens, it goes up on this railing. And you can see here they're drilling all the panels together. You can see here it's opening a little bit. And they're measuring to make sure it's level, so that way when the garage door opens, it opens smoothly and it doesn't and it's even on both sides. They're cutting the railing here. And you can see here the motor's now in. They drilled to the wall. You can see the motor, there's an outlet in the ceiling for the motor to plug into. And these here are sensors. So they have sensors on the bottom of the garage door, so that way if something is in its path, the garage door won't close. So let's say you press the garage door and you want it to close, but you had left your bike right here. It would know, it could sense that your bike was here, and it would stop the garage door so it wouldn't crush your bike. So there's sensors on both sides to ensure that. See, here's a close-up picture of the motor. And this is how the garage door looked after it was all installed. But some dirt in the way, but you can see nice and finished. Another thing that was put in outside is the air conditioning condenser. So we saw a couple weeks ago inside the house, they put in the air conditioning equipment, and then you saw in the ceilings they had all those like metal silver tubes running to all the rooms. Well, what this machine does, this machine's outside the house, and it's a large fan. And inside this box are a lot of copper tubes. Inside those copper tubes is a liquid called a refrigerant. And the liquid, you know how water is a liquid and water can be gas, but it could also be ice and it could also be a liquid? Well, what's inside this refrigerant can also be gas and water. And what this machine does is it turns the refrigerant, it compresses it into a gas, and it blows a fan over it so it gets nice and cold. And then you can see here, as it's cold, it's nice and insulated. It actually goes under the ground into the house, where then in the house, the air handler blows the air in the house over these copper wires, which cools the air in your home and makes all the rooms cool. Then the refrigerant gets hot because it's been used up to cool up your home, and it flows back through this copper tube into this condenser, and the whole process starts all over again. So there's a fan in here, and there's copper tubes with a refrigerant inside. The refrigerant goes from gas to liquid, and it's used to make the air in your home nice and cool. So that was bolted here to this little slab on the side of the house. Another thing that happened inside the house, I forgot this, is they put in the sliding glass doors in the shower. You can see they come here. This is the glass. It's all packaged. And they come and install it, and they put a special sealer around the sides so that way the water doesn't leak out when the water from the shower hits on it. So you can see they put that in. They also put in all the wire shelves in the closets. So you can see they put in all the shelves. And let's see, they also did the sidewalk. So this is the last thing that I'll show you that they did this week. So they put in the sidewalk in front of the house. So they had this truck come and drive, and they moved all the dirt. Remember we saw they cut the curb, and they located, this is a little summary, we went over this about maybe a week or two ago. They located where all of the wires are under the ground, so they make sure when they did the sidewalk they didn't hit any of the electric wires or plumbing pipes or cable or anything under the ground. So they spray painted the dirt orange and yellow and red to find all of those. They cut out the curb. And then they formed up where the sidewalk's going to be. So you see they put wood on either side, so that way when they pour the concrete stays in this wooden shape. They dug the dirt out, and that's what all this dirt is over here. They dug it 4 inches deep, so that way when they pour the sidewalk, it's a 4-inch deep sidewalk. So they measured that. They made sure these were nice and straight, and they connected to the other sidewalk on the other side of the street. They also put the concrete underneath the air conditioning compressor, which we already saw. And this is called an apron, and they make the sidewalk a little bit wider, so that way when you drive your car into your driveway, it has a nice, you have a nice large area to drive your car into. And it meets the road nice and evenly. Then another thing that they do is they have this thing called a level, which makes sure that this is perfectly straight. Now they want to make sure that the sidewalk slopes just a little bit so that way water, when it rains, doesn't sit in puddles on the sidewalk. So they want it to slope so the water will run off the sidewalk, but it can't slope too much because they want to make sure if someone's in a wheelchair or maybe they're walking a baby stroller or someone who might have difficulty walking, they want to make sure the slope is not too much that it's difficult for those people. So it has to be the perfect mix of enough slope for the water to run off, but not too much so if someone's in a wheelchair, they can easily maneuver down the public sidewalk. So then the concrete guys came, and I have a little video I could show you of that. See, this is the concrete truck. And see how it spins? So to get the concrete to come out of this little slide. And then when it's coming out, you've got these guys, and they've got kind of like wooden brooms. They push the concrete along inside the wooden frame. So they're scraping the concrete so it's nice and even. See, the truck moves with down the street. So they're sweeping all the concrete into all the little corners. Then they want to make sure after it gets into all the different corners that it's nice and smooth because you don't want a bumpy sidewalk. So they smooth it out. And they have, it's almost like a wooden broom that they use to smooth it out. And they're wearing special boots so the concrete doesn't stick to their pants or their shoes. Smoothing it out. And then you see when it's perfectly smooth, and they take a little, like a little metal brush, and they wipe it over. So see how perfectly smooth it comes. So they make sure that they get all the bumps out, and it's nice and even. They did it for the AC pad too. And then you can see here, this is what it looks like when it was all finished. It starts out really dark, and then as it dries, it gets lighter and lighter. So you can see this is the old sidewalk, and this is the new sidewalk. See the difference in color, but over time it'll become the same color. And the reason why there are these joints, they put these joints in the concrete because the concrete expands and contracts. So they want to give it a little bit of flexibility so that way it expands and contracts in these joints so it doesn't crack. So they put joints throughout. And And that's everything that happened this week. So, see, a lot of little things happen inside and outside the house.
Busy week.
Yes.
It's looking move-in ready soon. We have some questions, Lori. You ready for questions?
Yes, I am.
Make sure you say who you are. I'm Nicole.
Hi, I'm Nicole. What if the guy messed up on the sidewalk?
Okay, that's a really good question. Well, there's two ways you can mess up. One, if you do that slope incorrectly, the county will actually make you rip up the sidewalk and do it again. They're very strict because they want to make sure it's a public sidewalk, that if you're in a wheelchair, that you can easily access that. So they've actually had us, I think one time we had to rip up the sidewalk because it wasn't the right slope. Now, if, let's say, the concrete is still wet and maybe someone steps in it on accident, or maybe like an animal comes and walks through it, then that's an easier fix because the concrete takes a while to dry. It takes at least a full day to dry. So while it's still wet, they can kind of chisel and they can chisel out the area where maybe someone stepped in it or something happened, and they can fill it in and kind of smooth it out. So that's an easier fix.
You have another question, Nicole? Oh, very good. Anybody at this table have a question? You sure? Do you have a question, Ryan? Oh, she already answered. Okay. Do you have a question? Oh, Lori, they say right when they have a question, you've already answered it. So.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, she's thinking like you're thinking. Lauren, go ahead. Huh?
I'm Lauren.
You have 5 questions.
I have 5 questions.
Okay.
How do you make the popcorn?
A popcorn ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a great question. Probably a lot of your homes have popcorn ceilings because that was the style back when many of the older homes in Coral Springs were built. And I believe it's some sort of technique where they spray the texture onto the ceiling. Our homes do not have popcorn ceilings. They have more of a knockdown texture, which is also sprayed and then knocked down, and then they paint on top of it.
Question number 2, Lauren.
How do you make a mirror?
Oh.
That's a great question. A mirror is it's a type of glass, and it has a special coating behind it that makes it reflective. So a guy comes out to our site and he measures exactly where the mirror needs to be located. Then he goes back to his factory and with a special saw cuts the glass, and then they package it up so it doesn't break when it's being delivered. And then they have a special glue that they glue to the back of it so it sticks to the wall really nicely.
Question number 3.
How do you move a washer or dryer after you plug it in? Put the
How do you move it back to the wall?
No, how do you move it away after you put the pipe?
Oh, so you're saying that if somebody puts the washer and dryer in, there's the pipe that connects the water, but they decide they don't want their washer and dryer in that location anymore, can it be moved? Or do you know if you can answer that?
That's a good question. We have a special laundry room, for the washer and dryer, so we make sure that those large machines, that they fit, that the doors can open and there's enough room, and we also make sure they have the right outlets and vents, because the dryer actually needs a special vent because it has so much heat, and that heat needs to go somewhere. You don't want it in your house, so it actually gets vented outside. So it would be pretty difficult if someone wanted to move the location of the washer and dryer, because you'd have to actually go into the walls and you'd have to put vents, special electric wires the electric wires for the washing machines are actually larger than the electric wires for maybe your lights because they require a lot more energy. So I mean, it is possible in like a renovation to do that, but it would be a lot of work. So for our particular homes, because they're new, we don't let people choose where their laundry room is. It's just part of the floor plan.
You have a question 5, Lauren? Oh, 3, question 4.
How does the garage door open without you pulling it?
Okay, that's a great question. So there's 2 types of ways that garage doors works. One, you can there's a handle, you know, on the outside of the garage door, and you can lift it open with your muscles in your arms, and it will go on the railing and it'll push up and move down. These are electric garage doors. So if you guys saw, there was a motor that was attached to the ceiling and plugged into the ceiling, and that motor, when you press a button inside the garage, there's a button to open the door, and also usually there'll be a remote that people can put in their cars. So when they drive up to the house, they press the little remote in their car, and that will signal to the motor inside the garage to turn on and start opening up that door, and it will go, it will start moving up the ramps.
And one last one.
How much electricity is in the house?
Oh, that's a good question. There are a lot of wires. I don't know exactly how much, but on the outside of your house, there's a meter, and that meter keeps track of how much electricity you use when you're in the house, and the electric company for your area will actually charge you money every month depending on how much electricity that you use. So that's maybe why sometimes when you guys leave the house, your parents always tell you, turn off the lights, turn off your computer, because when the lights are on and other items are left on, that electric meter is running, and then they have to pay for that with the electric bill. So it's important to always, you know, turn off all your electronics and all your lights when you're done using them, so that way you're not wasting any electricity.
Hi, I'm Kaden. Can somebody steal the air conditioning compressor from outside?
Oh, that's a really good question. It's very, very heavy. And in addition, it's bolted with large bolts to a concrete base. So first you'd have to try to get it detached from the base, and then which you would need special tools for. Then once you did that, it would be very heavy, so it would be very difficult to steal.
Another one? Okay.
Are you at the house almost every day?
Yeah, actually, where I am in my office, I could see that house right across the street from my window. So every day I look out my window and I see what's going on. If something new is happening, I run over there with my camera so I could take pictures, so that way I could show you guys.
Last one.
Are all the rooms in the house done?
Are they all what?
Are all the rooms in the house done?
Done? Almost. One main thing that has to be done inside the house is the carpet in the bedrooms. It has not been installed yet. So you saw like in the great room in the kitchen, tile was installed. The carpet isn't installed until the very end because we don't want the carpet to get dirty. The tile, you know, is very easy. You can mop it clean. But the carpet, we want to make sure that no one with their dirty shoes, you know, is walking in until all the rest of the house is finished. So that's probably the main thing left to do inside the house. Outside the house, there's some more that needs to be done. The driveway needs to be installed, and we also need to do the landscaping too.
Hi, I'm Judy, and I have a question. How long does it take to make a sidewalk?
Okay, it actually took, well, one day it took them to move all the dirt so that way the sidewalk was 4 inches deep and it was nice and even with the other sidewalks on both sides. Then they took the wooden boards and formed it up on either side, so that way the concrete, when it was poured, wouldn't spill over. So that probably took one day. And then the actual pouring of the concrete was pretty quick. They were there probably like 2 hours. But then it took, after the concrete was poured nice and smooth, they put caution tape up all around it so that way no one would like step or walk on it. And it had to dry. And it took over a day for it to dry.
There you go. Blake? Go ahead. Blake, go ahead.
How do you take the sidewalk apart?
Do you have to take it apart at any time?
No. Once the sidewalk is in, it stays there because you want the public to be able to walk on the sidewalk along the street. So you don't have to take it apart once it's in. Maybe, in like 10 years from now or 15 years, maybe it might need some repair. Sometimes, maybe a tree nearby, a root from a tree might be growing under the ground and might cause a crack in the sidewalk. So sometimes over time, you will need to repair that. But the person responsible for repairing the sidewalk is not the homeowner and it's not the builder, it's actually the county. So wherever you live, that local city or county, they're the ones responsible for repairing the sidewalk because the sidewalk is actually for the public. So that way your neighbors can, walk their dogs and walk down the street.
Okay, we're going to have to finish up soon. Go ahead, Blake.
Do you buy the sidewalk or do you make the sidewalk?
Well, you buy the materials that are mixed together to make the concrete, and the concrete hardens to become the sidewalk.
Go ahead, tell me. Ask a question.
Hi, my name's Skylar.
Tell about your picture. Then where'd you go?
The picture I brought in was at my neighbor's house. They were redoing their bathroom because it needs to be redone. So they had a whole new bathroom. They got a new bathtub and all new, tile and stuff. And that was the tubes on the ground was a picture of where the water goes through to get to the bathroom.
Yeah, that was really cool. I could tell it was a plumbing pipe, but I wasn't sure exactly where it was going. But that definitely makes sense. It was going to the bathroom. I hope they liked their new bathroom with the new tile and tub and everything. But I was really excited when my mom showed me the picture that you took. I thought that was really cool.
And when Blake was asking the question, how do you take the sidewalk apart? I think she meant when the county says that you have to redo it.
Okay, if they had to redo it and take it apart, they would need like some sort of like drill, like almost like a hammer drill that would break the concrete into chunks, and then they could remove those chunks. Then what they would do is they'd reform up with the wood boards where the sidewalk would need to go, and they'd have a concrete truck come again and pour new concrete.
Well, where does all the dirt in front of the house go?
The dirt in front of the house came from when they actually were digging out where the sidewalk needed to be poured. So they had to dig and make sure the sidewalk was 4 inches deep. So all that dirt actually came from where the sidewalk now is, and they're going to have to come back with their little tractor and move the dirt before the driveway and the landscaping goes in.
Hi, my name is India. Where do you get the van from?
The mixing van? The concrete? Oh, you mean does she own vans that help move materials in and out of the house?
Yeah.
Okay, Lori, do you own any vans or large trucks?
We do have a truck, and we also have a trailer that you can load stuff in that goes to the back of the truck. But sometimes we have so much stuff that we need help. So, or sometimes we'll be ordering a large quantity of materials from a store, and wherever we buy the materials from, they might have a larger like flatbed truck that they'll come and deliver it to us. So we do have stuff for smaller quantities that would fit on the back of a truck or a trailer, but for larger quantities, we get help from other people.
And they have a golf cart that they go from property, right?
Yes, we do have golf carts that we use to help drive around the community. They're electric golf carts, which are nice so we don't have to waste gas when we're driving around the communities.
One more thing, India, before we move on?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My mom has a kind of golden shower with a metal bar, and the shower has a kind of smooth foot thing. I don't know what it's called. Things that make it feeling really good, and she loves taking showers, so she loves only having a shower.
Cool. That's good. You definitely want to have a nice shower head. And a shower head is actually something when, after you move in the house, if you want a fancy shower head, all you can do is you can remove the shower head that's there, and you can go to like Lowe's or Home Depot or some whatever store, and you can get a plumber to install a new one. Because what's most important is that the water pipes are behind the walls in the right location. And the actual head fixtures you can change periodically if you wanted to.
You have something you wanted to add, India?
Yes, and your job is awesome.
Thanks.
Do you have a question, Eloisa?
Yeah.
Okay, come on, because we're moving on here. What question do you want to ask Lori? Oh, go ahead.
What happens to a house during a hurricane if you don't have metal brackets?
Oh, on the garage door?
Yeah.
Well, what might happen is during a hurricane, what happens is there's a lot of wind, and the wind is blowing very strong and very fast. And the garage door, if it doesn't have those metal brackets or support, it might break or it might blow in during a really bad storm. So that, living in Florida where there are a lot of storms, they're constantly improving different technologies and methods to help secure against those strong winds. So, what would happen if you don't have those brackets on your garage? It just depends on the storm and where the wind is hitting. But for all the newer homes, they want to give you a little bit extra support just in case.
One more question, Eloisa?
Yeah.
She's writing the answer. Okay, go ahead.
What is the name of the special broom that you use to smoothen the sidewalk?
Does the broom, Lori, that they use to smooth that sidewalk, is there a special name for it?
I don't think it has a special name. I don't even know if you buy it. They might have made it. It really is just pieces of wood that they nail together to look like it's in the shape of a broom, but it's just a piece of wood that goes nice and really smooths out the concrete. I guess the way the wood interacts with the concrete, it doesn't stick, and it's long enough where they can slide across the whole width of it. So.
Ian, go ahead.
Yeah. How many windows are in the house?
Oh, that's a good question. There are a lot. We put a lot of windows in our house because we think it's really nice to have natural light to come in and pretty to be able to look outside at the trees and stuff. So each bedroom has at least one window. It's actually required by the code that each bedroom has a window that is large enough for a person to escape from the room in case there was an emergency or a fire. So it has to be able to open, and I think it has to be at least like 3 feet wide. So that's required. And then we also put in like the kitchen and casual dining areas, sliding glass doors and a lot of different windows. We try to put windows in all the bathrooms too, so you've got some nice light in there also.
Hi, my name is Emily. What happens if it rains and you had only put down the concrete?
Oh, that's a great question. That's actually could be a problem. The concrete workers actually check the weather before they pour, and we've had to cancel many concrete pours because they thought it might rain. Because you don't want the water mixing with the concrete because it'll become more liquidy, so less strong, and also the water bouncing on the wet concrete might create little puddle shapes when it dries. So it has happened before where it started raining, and what happens is you have to really quickly take plastic wrap and cover the concrete with a special plastic to protect it from the water from hitting it. So we've had to do that before, but we try to always check the weather to see if it's going to rain.
Okay, our last question, Ryan.
I'm Ryan. Can we see the house from outside the window?
Oh, maybe. Let me see. It'd be an interesting experiment to take my camera off here. Let's see if I can remove it. Oh no. Wait. All right, you should be able to see me now.
Well, no, you're a little frozen, but we can.
Wait.
Ryan, what are you doing to Lori?
You could hear me though, right?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Well.
I thought might be it.
Oh well. Maybe next time I can.
Are you holding your monitor, Lori?
No, it's just frozen. I don't know what happened. I
tried. While you're holding everything up there, Lori, next week, next Thursday, a week from this, we won't have, we lost you. You hear me, Lori?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Next week on Thursday, what do you think we'll be seeing?
I think you'll see the paver driveways. So I think you'll be able to see the paver being installed.
Oh, pavers on the driver. I'm sorry, Ryan. Lori will let you know if she put yourself back together over there.
Yeah, I'm trying to reconnect the camera, but at least you could hear me.
Yes.
Maybe next time I'll be able. I'll pick it up instead of trying to take the camera off to show you out my window.
Okay, everyone, say goodbye to Lori.
Bye, Lori!
Bye.
Bye, Lori.
All right, have a good week.